This is Latanya Michelle, and welcome to our Show Me the Funding training. I am so excited today because we have not just a wonderful guest who will deliver to you the amazing content that you have been looking forward to as it relates to the media, but for the list of participants that have joined us today, it looks like we are um, going to be talking specifically to nonprofit organization and ministry leaders and those that are looking to get either one of the two started. So you're in for a treat if you have a ministry that you're looking to start and or to grow. And you're in for a treat if you have a passion for a specific cause and you have a nonprofit organization that you're not only looking to get additional exposure for, but you're looking to increase your resources, your sustainability, and of course your finances. For this is the Show Me the Funding training. Today's topic is Media One-on-One, and we have a very special guest here with us, a very good friend of mine and a media expert, Veronica Mackey. Veronica, are you there?
I am here. How are you?
Okay, great. Okay, wonderful. I was like, oh gosh, I don't hear her. I see her, but I don't hear her. Let me tell you a little bit about Veronica before we start. She is a entrepreneur, and more specifically, she's a media entrepreneur. She has a background in journalism and public relations. And Veronica, as a friend of mine, as a publicist, has a natural ability for not just encouraging others to move towards their God-given purpose and calling and destiny, but she also has a very unique ability to help bring out those things that are inside of you that she understands the media is looking for. She is an amazing entrepreneur, and Veronica, as she's going to tell you a little bit later, is an author and a speaker, and I'm excited to have her share her media and public relations background with us today. Hello, hello, Veronica. How are you?
I'm doing great, Latanya. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm happy to have you. I'm happy to see you and to hear you on our training call today. So before we get started, I'd like for you to share with our group just a little bit about yourself and what your mission and moving forward is, and a little bit about your background.
Sure. Well, I'm a media entrepreneur. I began as a journalist and editor. I started my own media company in 2000, and then in 2009, I took it a step further and decided to combine media with market referrals because I've met a lot of people, of course, in my line of work, a lot of businesses, and I'm really passionate about entrepreneurs. But I felt there needed to be a way to bring them together in a physical way, not just by sharing leads and networking, which is good. So I got this idea for marketing referrals, and combining that with the media, it's really powerful because you're able to harness those connections that you make and take it a step further where you can actually target those connections. So I started the Connectory in 2009, and I really love it. It's fantastic. It works with media, it works with crowdfunding, which we'll talk about a little bit later. I mean, crowd referring rather.
Okay, Veronica, so let's just dive right in on our topic. Because you are the media expert and you have served as an editor and as a writer and as a publicist, um, the first thing that I want to bring out in this specific training is the importance of a nonprofit organization, an individual with a specific cause or passion, a ministry and or ministry leader. How important is it for them to, one, understand the media, two, build a relationship with the media, and then three, how important is it for them to complete and create long-lasting relationships with media, with individuals in the media. Can you tell us that before we begin? So first of all, how
For
important
a
is
minute, I
it?
was hoping I would hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. Well, it is important in that it builds credibility and it builds a track record. And I know that a lot of ministries and nonprofits out there, these are, I call them the bleeding heart people. They're so good, they're so kind, and they're,
Right.
doing everything they can to keep the doors open and help people and reach out. They deserve a place in the spotlight, just like, the big companies do. So what I do is I work with medias. I have a nonprofit I've worked with for years involved in healthcare. And we've come up with a lot of creative ways to stretch the budget and at the same time to give you the exposure so they actually look like they're a lot larger than they really are. We've been able to do that by just doing some old-fashioned things that work, going back to the basic press releases and sending those out and forming media sponsorships with radio stations, television stations, using their nonprofit status. If you have a nonprofit, you can get complimentary public service announcements on radio and television. You can get press releases published because the FCC is required to give so much time and space to nonprofit organizations. So that's a great way to get free publicity, and it's a good way to get your announcement out there, especially if you're not selling anything and you just want to offer something to the community. Then you can get it published and you can get on the air. You can get radio interviews without having to pay for them. So just so that you know, not everything, but some things you can do.
I like what you said, and I think it's really important because as I work with nonprofit organizations and ministry leaders, oftentimes not only do they not believe that what they're doing is media worthy, they don't get a big picture on how easy it is for them to connect their message and their event or their cause with the media, and how important it is to keep and to build the media contacts, because exposure in the media brings instant credibility. And as a small nonprofit or as a new ministry, one of the best things that you can do to leverage your position in your community and in the industry in which you serve is to position yourself as an instrumental information source and or service provider to and through the media. The media increases your exposure and it increases your credibility. And as we move forward in the Show Me the Funding training, we're going to be talking about how the media actually goes before you. So it begins to not only level the playing field, but it can also open doors. So this segment of the Show Me the Funding training is imperative if you are looking to gain additional resources, additional funding, and additional exposure, which is what we are looking to not just open up to you, but also bring you the steps in order to do so. With that being said, Veronica, can you tell us what when in working with the media, give us a few of the no-nos, a few things that we should know going into building these relationships. What are a few things we definitely should not do?
Right. You really want to get a good presentation together with a press release. You want to make sure that it's well written, well prepared. The typos are out and so forth. So even though you may be a small nonprofit or a small ministry, that's no reason not to present yourself in a professional manner, because no one is going to take your hand and say, well, they're just a nonprofit and they don't know. You really have to act like you know. So I would, even if you may not be a great writer, but find someone on your team that can put some sentences together. I have templates and things that I can offer to kind of give you the format that things should be written in. Another thing is you need to know who you're talking to. Know, look at your message and who is going to be the most likely person. If you're a medical organization, you want to speak to the health editor. If you're dealing with social services or something like that, you may want to speak to the community editor or the city editor. So you need to know the difference, and so that you know who your message is going to, so that it's not just sitting on somebody's desk or being pushed to the bottom of the pile, especially if you don't know, someone on the inside. You need to have relationships. Just form a relationship.
Yes.
Follow them on Twitter. Look at some of
Right.
the news anchors, some of the people that you see on TV that you like. So how do you get in touch with them? Join their Facebook team. You need to start circulating your name, make friends with them, so that when you send your information, they'll know who you are. It doesn't hurt to just call them and say, I'm so and so. I'm sending this press release. Please look out for it, or give them the subject name of your email, so that they can find it. So that anything like that will really help. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just make some effort to make a connection with them. Don't flood the media, which is another thing. Send a
Right.
press release, send a tweet or an email post to their Facebook page, or send something like that, but don't send like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 a day. That is just really too much. Then you're going to be looked upon as a pest, and they're not going to take you seriously. So relationships are important. Find a way to connect, and then follow through, follow up, and follow through. And the media, they like to do things at the last minute, especially the TV.
Really?
Sometimes you might think that they're not hearing you or not responding, and then suddenly they're there and they're ready to cover the story. So don't give up. Be very patient, and check in with them. And they're pretty nice. They'll let you know. Say if you're having an event, call them 2 or 3 days before, and they'll let you know if they're going to come out most of the time. You know, so you just have to be patient with them and be ready. Just
So
be
if I'm
ready.
hearing you correctly, Veronica, as it relates to preparing to build relationships with the media, we want to first of all be prepared. We want to identify the media source that is in our community that's most likely to cover our specific press release. And then we want to be professional, making sure that we remove all of the, what did you say, typos and spelling errors, and that the press release and our information is professional. And
Yeah.
then I'm hearing you say be persistent and be patient and be persistent. Be patient, meaning don't continue to just bug them so much, and then be persistent in keeping them updated with what you're doing. How is the correlation between the patience and the persistence? How does that work for you as an editor? How often do you like to receive, or are you interested in getting new information from a specific source?
Okay. Well, I would say if it's the same subject matter, you would want to maybe call and, hi, I'm so and so, and we're doing this event, and I'm going to send you a press release. So I'm looking out for it. Okay. And
Okay,
then you can certainly follow up. Did you get it? Maybe a couple of days later. Find out when the deadlines are. That always helps.
okay,
So that
that's
you can assure that you're going to get the information in on time. And then if it is a deadline, you can send an email, but don't do a lot of calling, because they're busy then. So that's not an ideal time to call, but certainly you can send an email. Uh, just kind of gauge yourself. I would say maybe twice a week. I wouldn't do more than twice a week if it's the same
okay.
subject.
That's good. Now that's really good information there as you're
Enough to
putting
keep
together
yourself
your
on your mind.
strategy. Say that again.
Just enough to keep yourself on their mind.
Yeah,
Twice a
and as you're
twice a
putting
week.
together your strategy, you can calendar these things in and they won't take very long. But the more persistent and consistent you are, the more valuable you can be seen in your, at least your local area for media.
Yes.
Okay, so now, Veronica, the next question for a nonprofit organization or a ministry leader, I understand you to say that there is free publicity available. Can you talk to us a little bit about how a nonprofit or ministry can get this free publicity, which is a great place to start?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I would contact the station manager, radio station, or the publicity. Well, actually, community relations is a good place to start when you're dealing with television and radio, and
Community
maybe the
relations.
city editor if you're dealing with the newspaper. So you want to let them know that you are a nonprofit. They may ask you to send them a copy of your IRS letter or a copy of your nonprofit number or whatever. You know, just provide them that information. So they don't always ask for that, but sometimes they do.
Okay.
And, you know, just tell them what you're doing. You would like them to run these PSAs on the radio station, you know, as many times as they can. And sometimes you may not get an ideal spot because it is nonprofit. They may run it at 1 in the morning. I don't know, but there are still people up at that time of the morning. So, you know, uh, can you run my PSA? Can you put this event on your calendar for me? You know, at no cost. Can you, you know, run the press releases? A great way to get publicity is if you are having an event, ask if they can send out one of their news people or invite your local councilman or mayor to one of your events. That is great
Oh, very
publicity.
good. That's
Free
good.
publicity is they're local celebrities. You don't have to worry about going through their people and them charging you all this money because, you know, they're public servants basically. So
Right.
sure, that's wonderful. And of course, ask them at the same time if they agree to do that. You're going to want to publicize it on their websites. So that's more publicity for you. You're piggybacking on what they'd be
Now, how,
doing that anyway
that's
because if
very
they're going to
smart.
make an appearance, they want people to know that. So it's a win-win-win.
It is a win-win, and that's
Excuse
smart.
me,
That's the way to think about all of the
Tanya?
relation building strategies. Can you hear me? I hear you. I see you. Do you see me? Can you hear me? I think Veronica might be having a little difficulty, but as she was saying, that is a great way to be strategic about building the exposure that you need as you're moving forward. I can hear you now. As you're moving towards your grant writing and as you're moving towards your crowdfunding campaigns,
Can you see me?
and definitely as you're building relationships with sponsors, the relations that you have with the media within your industry. I do. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Do you?
Yes,
Veronica, can you
yes,
hear me?
I can.
Veronica, can you see me?
I
Okay.
can,
Okay.
yes,
So now tell me, Veronica, you talk about
yes.
crowd. There you are. Technology, man. Technology. Okay. So you talk about crowd
I'm
referring and how that works. Can you give us some details on how a ministry leader, a nonprofit organization, can use crowd referring?
Mhm. Okay, well, you would start with your, I call them your ambassadors, your proud ambassadors. These would be people on your team. These could be people in other ministries, your volunteers, or anyone that you know. Or even you can partner with some corporate people, some business people about your vision, your mission, what it is that you're doing. You want people who have their ears to the ground, who know a lot of people, who have a nice, a good contact list, good connections, and to tell them to sing your praises, to tell other people about what you're doing. Can they send out emails for you? Can they tell a friend? Can they send out flyers? Can they make some phone calls? You can start out with about 10 of those, and then of course it can increase from there. And that is just a quick way to exponentially increase your contacts and the people that you want to get your message. So these are the people who are your mouthpieces, so to speak. So they would be telling people about what you do, about your event. They would be inviting people. They would be knocking on doors. Your new ministry or that your new building that you open up, or the money that you need to fund this new building. So these are people who would be referring others to you for your mission.
I love that because I heard you say that crowd referring is about leveraging other people's relationships to
Yeah.
assist you in achieving your goals. And what better position if you are a ministry leader or a nonprofit leader or someone with the cause, someone that has a passion, creating a systematic way for you to engage other people in a helping you achieving your goals is one of the best ways, the best forms of leverage there are. And you know that you can do a lot with just a little when everyone comes together and they're moving forward with the same purpose and mission. Veronica, now, can you tell us how can and what does it take for a agency or ministry to find and create or develop the right media for their message? How do they create this media list or this referring list? How do they do that for their specific message?
Well, for their specific message, they would want to help define themselves. It's the process, so it's like a self-discovery process. Who are they really targeting? One thing my church does periodically, they just take surveys. Who's here? And we found out that at least over 50% of
Very
our
smart.
people are young people. They are people, say, under 35. But that's important for us to target
Wow.
the activities that we're going to have in the church. So surveys definitely help a lot. Find out who you are. Then you want to look at the ministries. I mean, look at the media at the demographics. And so they're called advertising kits. Order advertising kits. And then you look at the breakdown. How many people read this magazine? How old are they? What is their income level? Where do they live? And you can match that up with the information that you collected from your particular ministry, for instance, and see if it's a fit. And then you'll know if that's where you can put your message, if that's where you can put your advertising dollars, if that's where you can, is that who you should approach to try and get an interview or get them to come out and cover your event. Because, these, if the people are matching up according with the statistics. So that's a great way. Just call them up. They're free. They're not going to charge you. We want to see your advertising kit. We want to see, who you're reaching.
Now that's brilliant, and that's an excellent way for a grassroots organization, a new ministry, or and even an established nonprofit organization to one identify who they really are serving through the surveys. Although sometimes we think we know who our target audience is, and we think we know who our message is going to, and sometimes it's a little different than what we think. So the idea of creating surveys for your constituency and your congregants is a wonderful piece of advice. Asking those
Yeah,
questions that will help you to serve them better and to know more specifically who you are working with. And I love the idea of
exactly.
requesting
Demographics always change.
getting that media
Yeah,
kit from the local and or any media that you believe your constituents listen to, that your
right.
constituents find is valuable, can really help you in identifying if they're a great media resource for you. And then you get to learn more about what they're looking for to put in their publications or on their stations, right?
Correct. Correct. Got to know
Okay.
that.
So now the topic of this workshop is Show Me the Funding. So now that we have the media's interest and we're developing relationships with the media, can you tell me, Veronica, how can we turn these leads into actual funders, into maybe investors or supporters, partners, sponsors? How can we turn these leads that we're getting through the media into funders?
Okay. Well, you would find out who it is. Again, doing your research. You start with the research that you have. You start with your ambassadors, who do they know? And you want to kind of sift through, there's a sifting process where you sift through the information that you have and say who is not only someone that might be interested, but who really is interested.
Yes.
So you kind of go through a process where you're looking at the facts to see what matches up with your vision and where you want to go. So it is a process where you find the best targeted leads. There's a difference between leads and targeted leads. So
Okay.
once you have that information in place, then you can go back to your ambassadors and say, well, I think this person would be a really good fit. Can you introduce us? So that can involve a three-way phone call. It can involve a three-way email, initially just to get to know each other, and then from you continue to build relationships. You may want to have a meet for lunch. You may want to have a small meeting. You may want to have a Skype meeting or something where you can kind of lay out your platform. You always want to have your profile together, which is really important. That's your written piece. That's what they can look at. That's what a funder can look at and say, okay, well, everything looks good. I want to fund you, and I need to have your information like right away. And that doesn't mean tomorrow. That means now. You need to have that profile in place before you actually have the introduction,
I agree.
because that's going to, that they want to see the numbers. Everybody wants to see the numbers. That's the bottom line. At the end of the day, what are the numbers? How many? What is your reach? How many people? What are you doing? What's my ROI? What can I expect?
What
From doing business with you. And it may not always be in terms of dollars, but they want some type of return. So,
In one of our upcoming classes, we're going to be talking very specifically about that because when you are creating value for your potential investors and our sponsors and our media sponsors, we'll talk about getting media sponsors in a minute. When you're creating value for them, you want to confidently let them know who your target audience is, how you serve them, and ways that you will be able to reach the target audience and or create valuable content for that specific target audience. And that makes you a much more valuable partner or potential sponsoree. Veronica, when we're looking at the media and we're trying to put together like our media kit or a presentation package, tell us some of the elements that we would want to make sure that we have in place in our role in preparing to connect with the media.
sure, you really want to start with a basic press release, general press release about your ministry or your organization. What do you do? Who do you reach? Anything that you've done in the past, any success stories, that's the time to really toot that horn. You want to have bios on the executives, the founder, the executive director, the pastor, the senior pastor, and you also want to have a photo. Now that headshot, nice clean headshot. These are the basic. That's just the bare bones. From there, you can add other things on other press releases, stories, articles that you may have been written up in, audio links to radio programs that you've been on,
I love that.
YouTube videos, everything. You just keep building that up and build a portfolio. And again, I cannot emphasize enough. Have that ready to go.
Be
At a moment's
prepared.
notice. Yes. Every time you do anything, update it, make sure you include that. Designate someone in your organization who's going to handle all that information, who's going to have that available. You need a go-to person. Whoever your PR person is in your group, they may not have that title per se, but whoever is good at handling the media, uh, a spokesperson for the person, whoever is the information person, a 411 go-to person who can send out whatever information is requested. So make sure you have a person in place to do that.
Veronica, can you give me an idea on how, when we're preparing to create, as we're preparing to develop and create these relationships, how can we know when and where and how something is media worthy, or how can we connect what we're doing with something that the media may need to take us a little more seriously? How does that work, especially for a ministry or a nonprofit organization?
PF, other people's fame. That's how that works.
I like
Um,
that. That's so
yeah,
smart.
no, as you know, if just reading the news on any given day, you know, you're seeing things about celebrities, you're seeing the headlines, there are crises going on, there are problems, there are all kinds of things. Take whatever it is that you feel you can spin in your favor, that you can latch onto, put that in a press release, attach your name to it, send it out, a tweet about it, a Facebook post, a press release, anything of that sort, so that this famous thing or person that's in the news is associated with your name, your ministry, your church, your nonprofit. So now you're linked together. And another good thing is that if it is a company or someone, you know, famous person, when they see their name, they're also going to see yours, and they're going to say, well, who is this person? They've quoted me. Quoting somebody famous is really, really a good way. People love to see their names. Of course, if they're famous celebrities, they really love to see their names.
Right.
Now, not when they're
Right.
looking at their name, they're seeing the person who quoted them. So as they go up the scale, as they go up on the Google ranking, so do you, because you're there together in the same piece.
Yeah, I love that because as you're working with the media, something that Maya Angelou said, if we're going to use names, something that Maya Angelou stands out with me, and it works not just as you are creating relationships for your sponsors and you're creating relationships for your investors, your constituents, but also with the media. And what she said was that people don't always remember what you say to them or
Mhm.
what you do for them, but
Yeah.
they always remember the way that you make them feel. And if you have or can develop the unique ability to be sensitive to the needs,
Hmm.
and offer solutions that will assist your investors, your sponsors, your constituents, and definitely the media people, because media, we say the word media, but they're nothing but people. They're
Exactly.
people like us that have a job that needs to be filled and who
Mhm.
often has a need. And if you can position yourself when you are dealing and communicating with each of these individuals as a person that is sensitive to their needs, thus making them feel one, valuable and important always, but two, like you are there to add assistance and help and value to them as opposed to trying to get something from them. When
Mhm.
you put that one thought in place that Maya Angelou has in front of every relationship that you're looking to build, it can be an excellent gauge that will allow you to start your relationships in a way that creates the leverage Veronica is talking about, because it is a win-win. We need you as ministry leaders, as nonprofit organizations, as individuals that are looking to raise money and awareness about a specific cause. We need you. The world needs you to position yourself in a positive light, bringing value, bringing love, bringing information and resources to the community and to your industry and to the world at large. And in order to do that, we need to take down all of these words of corporations and companies and businesses and media and begin to see them all as people.
Exactly.
People that are meeting a need and people that have a need. Is that true, Veronica?
I could not have said that any better. That's totally it. That's totally it. And I know that you get that with the work that you've done with nonprofits and funds and things. I understand. You understand exactly what it is. And so that would be another tip, really. Don't be afraid of the media. We are just
Don't
people.
be afraid. Yeah,
We are.
exactly.
We have
That's tip number
jobs
one.
to do. We have
Tip number
you know,
one.
we've got a job to do, and we've got to get some information, or you know, find any
Right?
news today. Really? Okay. Well, maybe we don't need you. We're all people.
Really? You're
You
out of
know?
there. Right, exactly.
Yeah. It's a two-way street. We don't you don't
So
just need we need you too. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, and I kind of want to stop using the word media as if it's this big thing, and just
Right.
say the producers, the editors, the people that are behind this title, the media, they need us to
Yeah,
create valuable
they
content
do.
and to help them to do their job. So it really is a win-win, because if they can't come up with credible news sources, then they're not doing their job. So let's just help them. But along the way, let's position ourselves in a way that we are servicing our community, our industry, and the media. And they're not doing us a big favor, but we have a opportunity to
Yes.
create a win-win relationship, because we are going to remember, one, that they're people. That's a great point. They're people just like
Yeah.
us. Two,
Yes.
we're there to help them do their job. And then three, if I can help them to feel good about the relationship that we're building, then it is definitely a win-win.
It
Yeah.
is. I've had people, just send me information, and I've really gone out of my way just because I believed in what they were doing, and I wanted other people to know about it. So I became an
I've seen
ambassador
you
for
do
this.
that. I've seen you do that. And
Yeah.
uh, and remembering how passionate you are to help others spread their message and to get their news out and to increase their value. Veronica, can you tell us a little bit about the connectory and your leverage program? Because what you offer is definitely of value to ministry leaders, nonprofit organizations, and they may not understand the need for the media and or the connection there, but you also offer another very valuable service. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. Well, what I see myself as is a matchmaker of people. And when I see ministries and I see nonprofits, they have such valuable work and they want to get it out. Uh, Often they may not know the best way to do it except for their own small circle. So I just try to widen the net. That's basically what I try to do, just widen the net through my live audience events, through my referring, through personal introductions, so that they can get to the people who can really help them, and people that they can contribute to as well. So I like to just create win-win situations. Now through the live events, after you've done the crowd referring and you've gotten the target market set up, I like to have the events where when you go, you're not just standing around with nothing to do. You're there with a mission. You have you have leads that have been pre-qualified, so to speak. These are people that have an interest in what you're doing, and that I feel would have a good connection with you, so that when you come to the events, you can actually meet face to face. So I'm really big on physical connections, face to face meetings, phone, as close as you can get, because you need to look into their eyes, so to speak, and you need to know if is this someone that I can really work with, do we share this vision, and as you know, magic just happens at events like that. So I really try to get them together so that they can share their vision, what they're doing uh, with society.
I love that. The two things that I am so excited about that you offer. One is the targeted target audience referral relationships. That is so powerful. Getting individuals in front of potential sponsors, getting individuals in front of potential investors that are targeted, that have an alignment and some congruency with their message is it's brilliant. So you have a brilliant idea there, and I love the way you value the one-on-one, face-to-face connection. With social media being so popular
Mhm.
and the internet being so popular, it's very easy to reach out and to make an introduction. But I
Yeah,
think that you have found something very special in that you are helping individuals to make a true connection through the live introduction, which is very powerful. how can we get in contact with you and stay connected with what you're doing in your public relations business and in the connectory?
You can connect with me, Connectory with a K, KONNECTORY @gmail.com. I do have my blog, which is Veronica Mackey, that's MACKEY .wordpress.com, and just connect with me there. I'm also Veronica Mackey on Facebook as well.
Okay, Veronica. So before we go, let's do a little recap. And to reiterate, if I remember correctly, and you can definitely chime in, as we're beginning our relationships with the media, first of all, the media brings about credibility that is undisputed. So when you are in the media, you have not just exposure, but you also increase your credibility and your visibility.
Mhm.
And you talked about the 4 P's of working with the media. The first was to be prepared,
Mhm.
right? The
Yes.
second was to be professional. The third P was to be patient.
Mhm.
And the fourth P was to persevere. Is that correct?
You got it. You are
Okay.
really good listening.
So we are going to be prepared. We will be professional. We will be patient with the media, and then we will also continue to be persevering and consistent in building relationships with the right media sources for us. You
Mhm.
also told us to really identify our target audience through surveys and to also get more in tune with what they really need, with their needs. And in doing so, we can identify the proper media outlet for us and the proper media connections
Mhm.
through requesting media kits, which offer the demographic information for their specific outreach. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so we have creating the relationship. And then next you talked about crowd referring, which is identifying our ambassadors. What one, two, three, four, five individuals can we get to really help champion our cause and get them involved in spreading the word, in creating additional awareness about what we do, but also in soliciting the investors, the sponsors, and the support that we need, correct?
Correct. I
Okay.
give you an A, Latanya.
Woohoo! I'm paying attention. You teach me very well. And then finally, we were talking about how important it is to turn these relationships into actual funders, and we do that by consistently having um, the right message for the media, and then the media and our ambassadors spreading that message to the right target audience. Is that correct?
That is very correct. Yes,
Okay.
you want to filter the contacts that you have so that you turn them from contacts into actual connections that are in alignment with your target, with your goals.
So creating a system or a follow-through system that will
Yeah.
turn your contacts into connections.
Yes. Yeah. So important. I cannot express enough the importance of follow up. That's where most people drop the ball. You know,
That's where we all drop the ball. That's the work of it
you
all,
in
really.
and spend all this time and you dress up and you go through everything and you get the business cards and then you may or may not call them and
Exactly.
it's like, why did you do all that if you're not going to follow up? So that follow up is really, really key.
Follow up is key, and I think having a system, having a strategy and
Yes.
system for follow up will take the guesswork out of it, and it will also take out the drudgery. And as you mentioned, maybe just having one person designated for following up in each of these things.
Yes.
Very smart. That's very smart. Okay, Veronica. So, is there anything you'd like to share with us before we go today? I've gotten quite a bit of information, new information from our time together today. And again, I highly recommend Veronica. She's going to be one of the sponsors for the Wealthy Woman Network Summer Business Series. And not only will we be interviewing her again and sharing more about what she does, but also she has lots of information to share with you, information and resources to share with you that are absolutely free. So be sure and stay connected with Veronica through Veronica Mackey at WordPress.com. Is there anything you'd like to share with us before we go today?
I just hope everyone will take some of this information and use it. Don't just listen, but use it.
Use
Contact
it.
me, contact Latanya, and just know that you're not alone. And don't try to act alone because you can't do it alone. We're all in this together. We want to help. We love to help. We give away a lot of free stuff. Take advantage of it. Just take advantage of it and just receive it as a gift.
Receive it as a gift. She said that, and that's so powerful. Don't just let this time be information. I really want you to use and implement, more importantly, and consistently implement the information that you're learning here, because it will make the difference. It will
Mhm.
set you apart from the masses, and it will help you to get the funds that you need in order to achieve your dreams. Well, this is Latanya Michelle in the Wealthy Woman's Network with the Show Me the Funding training. Thanking you for your time today, encouraging you to move forward with all of your gifts, skills, talents, goals, and desires, and reminding you to be bold, to be brilliant, and to be a blessing. Bye bye. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.